Well, hello everybody, and welcome to this week's Metaworld News. This is the news program where we look at headlines coming from social virtual worlds, immersive spaces online, and a little bit of stuff about that good old VR, inverted commas, technology as well. For news headlines throughout the week, you can follow me on twitter.com/malburns. That's MALBURNS, all one word. Yes, one word. And I'm about to start basically by letting you know a few of the highlights that you will find there. Obviously, you can go to that link if you want the feed to peruse in more detail. I will endeavour to give you what links I can as I'm reading them out. I'm going to start, obviously, this time last week or shortly after. I posted vrfocus.com. That's vrfocus, or one word.com. Virtual worlds are teaching better lessons. This is an article on the use of virtuality in education, as you might expect from a title like that. Shortly thereafter, the link is on my feed, but it's also on YouTube. Roblan VR published last week's VR review news. Convenient, it always comes out very shortly after this show. It's a short 5-minute look at the actual hardware technology that's come out over the week, along with sort of slideshow type pictures showing you what the kit is all about. Virtuality-Newsnet, so virtuality-news.net. Janus VR turns web pages into interactive spaces. This isn't particularly new, but it's been treated as if it's new. They have been around for a while, but I imagine this post is really sort of a bit of a comeback kind of thing. And graphically, they're very good. They're sort of more or less the kind of equivalent that we have here in, say, an OpenSim. ecampusnews.com. That's letter E, campus, and the word news, but all one word. So it's ecampusnews.com. What will learning look like in the year 2025? Interesting thoughts here. Obviously, it takes in the possibilities for virtuality, augmented reality, and all the rest of our wonderful immersive world, and looks to the year 2025, which what's that? I've forgotten. 7 years, 8 years away, I think, which is an awful long time in the modern world, given that things seem to change profoundly every 8 days, let alone 8 years. But there you go, 2025 in review from that side. I'm still on learning. This is a post at SlideShare from David Burden. David Burden of Dayton here in the UK gave a talk at the other week at Virtual World's Best Practices in Education, called From Second Life to Fieldscapes. The video of that is up in assorted places, but more to the point, if you go to SlideShare directly, you'll have to go to my feed to get the link. The actual slideshow component, the materials he was using in the talk, are actually there as standalone materials for you. Right, back to vrscout.com. In fact, 4 days ago, they published the Week in VR review. Again, this is one of those reviews that is more looking at the endless arrays of variations of what I sometimes think of as the same hardware these days. It's a podcast hosted by Malia Provost. But the web post there obviously contains a bit of extra information around the audio as well. Talking of audio, voicesofvr.com. There's usually something pretty good there every day, but 4 days ago we had number 522. Featuring somebody called Shari Freelot from the Sundance Festival, in fact, talking about the power of VR storytelling. And very interesting interview, and nice sounding lady too. 2017 in VR conference wants to bring E3 to you. This is a post at uploadvr.com. So it's upload and then the letters VR, but spelled as all one word, uploadvr.com. And the idea is they want to bring the E3 sort of media conference, I guess it is, to you as an in VR experience. And you can find out more about that on the post itself. Right. Vice have a post called Distract Yourself in Virtual Reality with a Meta Virtual Reality game about virtual reality. And this is from creators. I think it may be Vice.com, but it's listed as Vice. You may have to go to my feed to get the link. This is just a really curious one. I mean, you know, distract yourself in virtual reality with a meta virtual reality game about virtual reality, you know, mirrors in mirrors or whatever it is. I rather like the idea of all that turning yourself inside out kind of thing. The game is a response to the current hype and hope surrounding VR and described as a comedy satire about VR in VR that addresses AI and assorted out of sci-fi fever dreams of the future. And yep, well, find out about it there and let us know your thoughts. Right, check out the latest AR and VR trends at VRLA, that's Virtual Reality Los Angeles. Their expo for this week is next week, if you understand what I mean. In other words, starting tomorrow. If you're in Los Angeles, April 14th and 15th is the big expo from VR LA. You can find that post at upload.vr.com. I'm sure it's listed and detailed all over the place if you have any VR feeds to hand. VR for good, how one dad is using VR to help his daughter. Another post here from uploadvr.com. And a nice story basically. Always on the lookout for new and individual experiences of using VR for the better. More talk. Research VR, episode 40. You'll find the link to this at uploadvr.com again for ease. This podcast was diving into light fields. It was looking at light field technology, which promises to be a very economic, that's the word I was looking for, way of approaching VR display technology. A site called Polygon. Why We're Running with Scissors is the title, inverted commas, and then the subtitle is Why Some Experts Worry About VR Dangers. And I'm always one who says that, you know, I'm not here to just post every wonderful link about the future of VR and how it's going to change the world without actually looking at possible dangers too. And this was an interesting little write-up about concepts like virtual gaslighting, augmented torture, and all sorts of bad things that could actually happen in VR as it progresses and empowers us. Because when it empowers most people, it also empowers the bad guys. You must remember this. Right, so that post is at Polygon. Vice has another post. Take a fantastic virtual reality voyage into a 500-year-old Gothic sculpture. This is another intriguing idea. Apparently, this real-life Gothic sculpture is actually quite small and very detailed. So they've kind of metaphorically, as it were, blown it up and recreated all that detail in virtual reality and linked it to the real-life sculpture itself. So you visit the sculpture. It's actually at the Sculpture and Decorative Arts Department of the Art Gallery of Ontario, which would be Canada, I guess. And you go in there to see the real-life exhibit, but you put a headset on that basically amplifies it all and allows you to examine all the detail that you possibly couldn't even see, I gather, easily without a microscope kind of thing if you're examining it for real. So a bit of a merging of realities there. Right, Vice has another one. But this seems to be a bit more promo about Space VR, which is still described as a startup building ways for users of virtual reality to meet up and attend events together. Space have been around a while. I wouldn't really call them a startup, and certainly what they're doing is not unique, although they are one of the more popular ones if you discard OpenSim and Second Life and the big names. They are one of the more popular ones here. And the title of the piece is "I went to a dance party in my pajamas thanks to VR." And it's actually advice, but it's the title says Motherboard. I think Motherboard is a section in Vice to make it easier to find if you don't follow my feed. Loomis, Lums, packed 55-degree field of view into optics less than 2 millimeters thick. Now, I don't often go into the hardware side of things, but this was a post at roadtovr.com, posted by Ben Lang, in fact. And he of Voices of VR, in fact. And basically, at CES last week, Loomis was showing off what they're calling Maximus optical digital engine with an impressive 55-degree field of view. Now, you might sound like 55 degrees is not a lot. I mean, if you want a half circle in VR, that's 180. So 55 may actually not sound like much, but when you actually consider these things work akin to sunglasses, and they're flat, they're not like a curved visor effect, then possibly what they've managed to do currently is actually pretty good. And the reviewer says the images they saw were very sharp in the 55 degrees, and they were at 1080p, which is a pretty decent resolution for something that's actually in a pair of glasses. And they have one picture near the bottom of the post of a sleek prototype, and they literally do look like a pair of sunglasses you will fold up and put in your pocket as normal, except that where the hook that goes over your ear is, there's like little square boxes, so it's a bit of something behind your ears, and there are a few add-ons at the front where the glasses are. No, it doesn't say what the material is, but the prototype looks lightweight, but said that it could be made of heavy steel for all I know, and then tarted up to look like plastic. Anyway, enough of that. So I thought you should know about that. And moving on, there can't be much more here, but you never know. Microsoft, yes. Well, Microsoft are Microsoft, aren't they? But worthy of note, Tom's Guide. This is a site online. It's Tom''S space guide. That obviously isn't the website address, but that is the site's name. You can Google it. Microsoft's sub $300 mixed reality headsets are coming, and I tried one. So this is an actual review. Again, this is forgetting the HoloLens and stuff. This is Microsoft's attempt to bring something at the right price to market that will presumably work with Windows and won't need Oculus or Vive or anything like that, and hopefully fairly low specs on the computer to use them. I won't say low specs, that doesn't seem to be the idea, but relatively low specs and for you to use. Now, what's actually happened is Microsoft have actually got together with some of their partners to actually release these, and the one that's being reviewed was made by Acer, and now I do have an Acer system here, and generally speaking, very good. But there won't be many differences between various models other than cosmetic design. And the goal to deliver a mixed reality experience that feels seamless under an extension of Windows itself. So if you're on any other platform than Windows, which you probably are actually, then this probably is no good to you whatsoever. But for those of you still suffering the indignity of working with Windows, this might be the thing for you. Certainly at $300, $299, I believe. It's hardly going to break the bank, as they say. And it also They claim it gives 6 degrees of freedom. Da, da, da. But the thing that strikes me from the photo, and I think it was mentioned here somewhere else too, is that the person wearing it, unlike a headset where you have to take it on or off, this the front of this is more like a visor. It's got a grip that goes around your head, but it's not a headset. It's just a firm grip around your head like a headband, but you can flip the visor up and down. So it's a bit like, having a sunglasses filter on a pair of spectacles. You just literally flip up and you've got normal view, flip it back down again and you're back in augmented or virtual reality. So hardware on that front, I must say, I did quite look at that, despite the manufacturers now. Well, Acer are good, despite the fact it only works with Windows, is what I'm getting at. Right, okay, and this morning, indeed, this very morning, 3 hours ago, I believe it was, I read a piece, Virtual Reality, is this really how we will all watch TV in years to come? The Guardian, of course, is a major, the big three national kind of serious newspapers in the UK, has great articles on technology. In a sense, there is nothing new here, but if you want a good read that gives you an overview and actually considers whether VR could merge with television or will simply supersede the idea of television, it's looking at things from that kind of angle. So that's it for the main VR news, as it were. Flipping in Batworld, I should have switched the slide to Social Worlds news. And where are we here? Let's open the. There's another Twitter feed that goes with the show, which you'll find at twitter.com/Metaworld News, or one word. And these things are more specific to Social Worlds rather than VR per se. A company called VeerTech are no longer selling to new customers, but they are still supporting old ones. VeerTech offered financial services on Open Simulator and things. This is supposed written by David Karuki at hypergridbusiness.com. Also at hypergridbusiness.com, our good friend Maria has popped up with one this week, amidst all her moving and everything else. How to build trust for your OpenSim product or service. In other words, one of Maria's very fine sort of lectures on what not to do if you want to keep the trust of your users, residents, whatever you want to call them. hgsafari.blogspot.com is Cesar Ember's take on this week's Hypergrid Safari. Safari goes from the Fox to the Absurdists. And while I'm on this, I would mention that if you wonder what the Absurdists are, we might be able to tell you a little bit more about it in an hour's time when we go live at noon with the InWorld Review. And one of our guests there will be Caledonia Sky Tower. And we'll tell you a bit more about that at the time. But Savari visited that, amongst other things, during the course of the week. Social Worlds, again, a bit far from the Hypergrid, but high fidelity. Philip Rosedale's startup, which is in public beta. It's not alpha, but it is public beta at the moment. Let me see. Sorry, I've got a little Skype beeping going on there. High Fidelity's virtual reality talent show will be on April 21st, 2017 at 2 p.m. Pacific time. This is actually written as an article over at Medium. You get a lot of good articles at Medium. This one obviously is promo kind of article. It is. You can log into VR at High Fidelity and see some of the singing, juggling, magic shows, on-the-spot art creation. Bring it along. And they're looking for people to take part, and they've also got people already taking part, and there's going to be a prize of $1,000 to be awarded by a live audience vote for whatever's the best thing, I guess. If you get to High Fidelity, you simply need to go to a region called Zaru, that's Z-A-R-U, and that is this coming, hang on, Friday, April 21st. I'm trying to do my maths here. Is that this week or the week? Actually, I think it's the week after. But I've told you anyway, and you can find the article if you want more. Things like juggling and stuff like that might sound really odd, but High Fidelity has got lots of experimental stuff going on, which allow your avatars to do literally things like touch things, move things with your hands, throw them at each other, and juggle balls and stuff like that. So you could be in for quite a treat, seeing what all the main blokes over there are doing. Right, Space hosts its first educators meetup. Actually, that's happened. It was on the 13th of March. That's not very helpful. I think this is here mainly for the archive. I was talking to Space and been in Space a bit for the last few days, and they are apparently working with rather a lot of educators. So that was the educators meetup, but apparently there's quite a lot come out of that, which I'm not going to go into because I don't know whether I'm allowed to or not. But it's simple. That is simple, isn't it? Also, from High Fidelity, I'm trying to figure out. Oh no, this is yet another page actually. Creating and recreating buildings in VR with Archilogic. Archilogic is like a warehouse for 3D buildings and stuff like that. And actually, I think this post is old. Yeah, my reader here has got them jumbled up. But basically, they've got a partnership with High Fidelity 2 for bringing buildings in from the warehouse. And finally, scanning here. Nope, absolutely nothing there that is particularly new. And I've got one more category here, but I think that is duplicates. So I'm looking in there, and yes, indeed, nothing particularly new in that department. So that's it for my roundup this week. If you've been studying our camera carefully, you'll probably notice I'm on my own here today. James Atloud is taking a well-deserved holiday for just this week, as far as I know, and will be back with us next week. So no developer news this week. I'm sure it can wait. Do join us again, as I mentioned. If you're watching this live, I don't know, it's about 25 past 11 a.m. on Sunday, and we'll be back on air on the same channel, quite literally in half an hour with the InWorld Review, where we'll be joined by this year's Synchro Award winner, Leo Lobo, who'll be talking about that and a whole load of other stuff, and Caledonia Sky Tower, who'll be talking about the Theatre of the Absurd and various other projects that the Synchro Library has got going on. So hopefully we'll see you then. If not, we won't. But all our shows, including this one, are available in replay at YouTube, so you have no problem at all. I'll be back with some more news, and back with James, I hope, this time next week, and we'll see you then. Have a good week. Thank you, and goodbye.